Hello, and welcome back to Leads with Luz on Franciscan Beat. I'm your host, Dan Masacchio, and this is a show where we talk about the Bible and what it means to students here at Franciscan University. Today's gospel is Luke chapter 13, verse 10 through 17. Let's get into it. He was teaching in the synagogue on the Sabbath, and a woman was there who for 18 years had been crippled by a spirit. She was bent over, completely incapable of standing erect. When Jesus saw her, he called to her and said, "Woman, you are free from your infirmity." He laid his hands on her, and she at once stood up straight and glorified God. But the leaders of the synagogue, indignant that Jesus had cured on the Sabbath, said to the crowd in reply, "There are 6 days is when work should be done. Come on those days to be cured, not on the Sabbath day." The Lord said to him in reply, "Hypocrites, do not each of one of you on the Sabbath unite his ox or his ass from the manger and let it out for watering. This daughter of Abraham, who Satan has bound for 18 years now, ought she have been set free on the Sabbath day from this bondage?" This passage is really interesting, I think. It really says a lot to how many times we can sometimes get so caught up in the rules of our faith. As Catholics, we have rules that we are supposed to follow, and they are inherently good. But sometimes we can just wrap ourselves up in them so much that we forget that the purpose of our faith is to love the Lord and ultimately do what he asks of us. Jesus was simply doing what the Father moved him to do, healing this woman who had been struggling for 18 years under Satan's grasp, and she so came to him on a Sabbath day, and he wasn't just going to say no. I think we can really learn a lot from that. Is sometimes we get wrapped up in all these things that we think we're supposed to do, or things like maybe you say a rosary every night religiously, and a friend just really needs help, but you have a rosary. Maybe just for that night you give the rosary up to help your friend, because that is what ultimately is going to lead to the greater good. I know that sometimes I can fall into scrupulosity and things like that, and getting overly caught up with, I have to pray at X time, and I have to do this, I have to do that. Just read the Bible, check mark. Read part of the catechism or something like that, check. I got to pray a Hail Mary, check. But that's not all that our faith has to offer. It's about relationship with the Lord. And when we have that relationship with the Lord, we can then receive what he is telling us and go forth and learn and do what he's asking and be more open to what he's asking, so that we can flourish in our lives. So I think what we as students can really take from this passage is to just go forth listening to the Lord and not being so caught up in maybe what's supposed to be done, and going forth and really just listening to what the Lord has for us in the day-to-day life and seeing that as our path. And now, to Dan the weatherman for the weather. Thanks, Dan. All right, so today's weather is cloudy and sunny with a high of 48 degrees, partly cloudy 1% chance of precipitation. That sounds pretty nice, except that tonight, 72 chance of precipitation. Well, looks like it's going to get pretty rainy later tonight with a high of 37. And now to our 3-day forecast, where today, again, we have a high of 48 and a low of 37. On Saturday, tomorrow, we have a high of 46 and a low of 73 with a 23% chance of precipitation. And of course, on the 25th, there's good old Christmas. It says snow. I sure hope we can hope for a white Christmas, but you never know. But I just thought it'd be really fun. There's a 100% chance that you'll probably get a gift, so that's pretty fun. And take this opportunity to just wish you all a blessed Advent and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.